Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have our friend in the studio once again. He is Omagbitse Barrow.
Hello, Father.
Omagbitse Barrow used to be an investment banker. He is now leadership. He's more engaged in leadership now than investment, right?
Certainly.
So
people development.
People development. A lot of trainings in leadership, a lot of trainings in corporate management and in leadership. And had a stint in politics and still he wrote a book.
Yes, I did. Politeracy 110.
Politeracy 110. Yeah. Not 001.
No, not 001. So there are 110 facts about political literacy.
Okay. So I thought, you see, because when I saw politeracy, I thought it's politeracy 001, meaning ABC of political literacy.
Exactly.
So Omagbitse Barrow is here, but Omagbitse Barrow is also wearing another cap. He is a member of the technical committee of the network and advocacy project of Terra.
That's right.
Tell our audience what it's about.
Well, the network and advocacy group of Terra is a project that is designed to help us to intervene in this very difficult and precarious situation that we have ourselves in terms of our fractured and broken civic space and all the challenges that we have with national integration and peace and security and all the issues that are seemingly pulling Nigeria back, how we can create a group of Nigerians cut across different strata of society, across all the geopolitical regions and demographics of the country, as well as people from diverse backgrounds, how we can come together, Christians, Muslims, people from all parts of Nigeria who share a common vision for the survival and the sustainable success of Nigeria.
Are there people who from north and south, east and west, Christians and Muslims, who still share any common vision for Nigeria?
Oh, certainly, Father. I think it's very important to mention that there are such people, and this is what we must do, that we as people who have this common vision, we must find ourselves, and we must reinforce how we feel about Nigeria and the Nigerian project in each other. If not, it is easy to slip into despair and sort of give up. So the networking and advocacy group is very important because it ensures that if we can find each other, we exist and we can come together, reinforce each other, mutual reinforcement, and then we can now reach out. You know, we may not all have, we may still have some differences in terms of how we understand what the problems are and how we are going to get there. But the important thing is that we all believe centrally.
So your first task is let's find each other.
Let's find each other.
Those of us who still believe that Nigeria is salvable, that we can save Nigeria.
Exactly.
Let's look for one another.
Yeah.
And become friends.
And become friends and engage, because we may not agree on everything.
Of course, it's never going to happen.
And through that engagement, then we can understand some of the issues that everybody else is feeling and seeing, and then we can forge together to then engage the larger community. Under
the present circumstances, we are hearing of people declaring their own republics. I mean, we know of IPOB long ago. Now there is a new Biafra that somebody has announced and declared himself the head of government. Then recently we heard of Yoruba Oduduwa Republic. Then we are hearing, so all kinds of things from left and right. Under these circumstances, is this network and advocacy project, is it not too ambitious to think that we can achieve something?
Oh, certainly it is not ambitious, Father. The problem is that we've got to do something. So all these different voices that we are hearing and different agitations are all a result of some fundamental problems that haven't been addressed over time. So it's important that we do something to address those issues, both in the immediate term, medium, and even the long term. One of the things that I find in solving the problems of Nigeria, as we've gone through many crises, you know, Nigeria has been at the precipice of disaster
for a long time,
for so many times. But I find that we have just maybe by stroke of luck, by God's intervention, as we saw in 1998, you know, we get over it, but some of the fundamental issues remain. So if we don't deal with some of these fundamental issues, which oftentimes have to do, for example, the way people think and perceive the country, you know, how people feel that they've been alienated, how their rights are not being respected, how people feel, for example, that the configuration of the country is wrong, that if we don't address these issues, then we will have how people feel about each other. For example, the concept of diversity and inclusion. Do we all recognize that we are actually of the same race? So when Nigerians, you know, if you tell someone from Singapore about diversity, they are dealing with 3 races. If you tell people in America about diversity, they are dealing with 7 or 8 races.
Yes.
But in Nigeria, it is one
we
race.
are one race.
So when we talk about diversity, it's important for people to understand that we are all from the Negro race. You know, specifically Sudanese Negro from in the tropical part of Africa, that we are all quite similar.
I mean, sometimes people speak as if we are one group is from Jupiter and
exactly,
another is from Mars.
It's from Mars, but we are not. So what is let us find the basis for Nigerian unity, and it exists. There is our common humanity, the fact that we are all human beings, the fact that we have common problems.
And common history.
Common history.
For over 100 years now.
Exactly, and that's long enough. But I think that there hasn't been enough. So the networking and advocacy group is very important in driving people to think differently about Nigeria and the future of Nigeria, and also getting people to act very decisively and very quickly to really ensure that Nigeria stays together, and stays together not just for the sake of being together, but as a sustainable and prosperous society.
And when you say we in the network and advocacy, who are you? What is your team like?
So there are various layers of the team. So we've got the core team, which is made up of myself and a number of other
that's the secretariat.
People. That's the secretariat that runs the program, and we all come from diverse backgrounds, different parts of the country.
Muslims and
Christians,
Northerners
and Southerners and Middle Belt and everything. So there's a good distribution of the Nigerian complexity within the team, and then we also have the think tank, which is like, you know, a more advisory body that sits and
steering committee,
as it were, that looks at some of the issues that come from the technical and secretariat teams, and, you know, does work and intervenes and puts out position papers on different things. And that group is also very diverse, you know, of Nigerians across various walks of life. And then we've got
about how many people are in the think tank?
About 16, 17 people or thereabouts. Yeah. And then we have and then we have different groups that we are building. For example, we've had over the last few weeks a number of workshops for NYSC members, and we are hoping that some of those NYSC members of diverse backgrounds will also, in a way, join us as committed members of the group to continue to, you know, sell the message of, you know, diversity and inclusion, peace and security, civic education and engagement. Even now, we are running a program for community leaders, you know, community leaders from various sectors, people from the NGO sector, religious institutions, even from the private sector. So we've got people from school owners to bank association members to professional bodies of different types. So a cross-section of interests. So a cross-section of interests to say, look, let us all stop being too busy doing what we are doing, but pay attention to really what matters.
And as you gather 30 people representing a cross-section of interests, political interests, corporate interests, even age in terms of youth leaders and so on. Yeah. What is your impression of the people who are gathered? Are most of them really looking forward to one Nigeria?
I believe that it's a tough question you've asked. I believe that everybody wants a society where their rights are respected, where they have the freedoms to aspire and, you know, to achieve what they want and practice their religion and go about their lives peacefully. I believe that we can find that in Nigeria. if we can, if we can work on the issues that Nigeria has. So to answer your question, yes, we all want a safe, conducive, prosperous society where our rights are respected and we can relate with each other. And we believe that it can happen in Nigeria. There are skeptics, there are people who are cynical, and there are different schools of thought. But we believe that through constant engagement and interactions, by, for example, dispelling some of the myths that exist around all of these, our national...
What do you mean by myths like?
Oh, myths like things like stereotypes, the people from this part of the country have this problem, the people from that part of the country
like the people
did
from
this,
your country
like
are
the people,
ogogoro
exactly,
drinkers.
we are laid back, ogogoro drinking people who cannot do anything for themselves. There are all of those things. But what do those things mean in reality? They don't mean anything. They are old fables told by people, and sometimes it's about that point, that what is the truth, and the truth, like I said earlier, is that we are all human beings with common problems, with common aspirations. So if we can continue to push the conversations around this and really realize that we even have common enemies, common weaknesses. So for example, our heightened sense of of indiscipline.
Not to south, east to west, is a problem.
And that's our weakness. Let us address that problem.
Our kleptomania.
Exactly. Our crass materialism. The fact that we are not as productive as we should be. The fact that we are not even paying attention to what you always talk about, critical social thinking. People are not analyzing issues. You just get a text message, the
and
next
you start
forwarding it. You don't think about it. So there are so many things that are wrong with us. And even in the understanding of diversity, at the end, we must recognize that people don't do this because they are Igbo, because they are Shekiri, because they are Ibira, because they are Hausa or Fulani. They just do it because they are human beings. So you cannot isolate that, it is because, you say, so what makes someone successful? Is it because he is of a particular tribe or he's of a particular religion? No. What makes someone successful is the choices that the person makes, the character of that person. Even people who are of a particular religious extraction, that the religion teaches some level of piousness and character. It doesn't mean that they have imbibed, that many people are just, by name religious, Christian by name, but something else by actual attitude and choices
that they make.
So one of the things we share with people, you say, for example, in Nigeria, you say, people who are Igbo are very industrious, they like to make money, isn't it? But the wealthiest man in Nigeria is a Fulani man. Yes. You say, that Fulani people are the best in leadership and politics, but the two strongest politicians in Nigeria today are from the southwest. The people who actually hold political power. You say, that Yoruba people are the best at school, but Philip Emeagwali, who has the supercomputer credited to his name, is Igbo. So what do all these things really mean? So those are some of the myths.
Yeah, so as you gather at the various levels you have described of the network and advocacy group that you are working on, are you putting 2023 in focus? And what is the linkage between what you are doing and 2023? Why I'm asking is that some people are asking for a total change of the structures of the country. The whole constitutional framework, demolishing it and having a new constitution. I belong to some groups that are discussing a new constitution, completely new constitution. So what is the interface between your group and these groups that are calling for a totally new constitution? Is there some linkage?
Well, I believe that at the end of the day, there is a need to look at the Constitution of Nigeria because it is the foundational document that drives everything. And if there is a heightened agitation from various quarters around this, I think that there's credit in it. But we don't have to look too far. We have had over the years many constitutional conferences in Nigeria with many recommendations about things that should change. Some of these things are obvious. They are what we describe as low-hanging fruits. So how can we start to even deal with those things? And to the larger conversation, yes, we need, like you have said before, Father, we need to start to have a discussion about all our issues with Nigeria, and that it is in the interest of Nigeria to have this discussion. Countries that have progressed through these types of crises and difficulties, especially perennially in Nigeria, we just keep escaping, but they keep coming back. I think the final solution is to have some type of family meeting where we really have rich conversations.
So South Africa had a truth and reconciliation.
Exactly.
Commission. Rwanda had a truth and reconciliation.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereby, like I said in one of my videos, everybody is hurting.
Exactly.
So if all of us are hurting, you come and tell me what is hurting you.
Exactly.
And I will tell you what is hurting you. And this person tells what is hurting her. So that we can then receive some apologies.
Exactly.
Tender some apologies. Yeah. I mean, my great-grandfather hurt, my great-grandfather's hurt your great-grandfather's.
Exactly.
Then let me acknowledge that something went wrong. And let me apologize on behalf of my forebears for what they are alleged to have done. Even if I'm not completely convinced.
Exactly.
So that we can move forward.
I mean, Father, I think Nigeria has had a bit of an experiment with something like that. You remember the Oputa panel?
Yes.
I think, and I don't know if many people have thought about it this critically, that it sort of helped to kill militarism in Nigeria. Because one of the highest points of the Oputa panel was discussing the role of the military in society. And then we saw generals, we saw videos, we saw testimonies. And I think that helped.
Just ventilating the grievances.
Exactly. So as Nigerians came, the generals, so if we didn't get all the generals coming, but those who came, we saw it. And it sort of showed us, it demystified that whole military coups and all of those things. So a
general can be summoned.
So it can be summoned, and you saw their vulnerability. And at the end of the day, I think it has helped us. It's one of the reasons why we don't even have this issue of military intervention in politics in Nigeria, at least for the last 22 years. I think it helped. So I agree with you 100% that this type of open fora, you know, I also think it will even deal with problems like corruption. I have written about the fact that the solution to corruption in Nigeria is an open house discussion. Let's all come out and talk about it so that we raise it to a level of national consciousness, you know. If not, we keep talking about some of these things.
I mean,
you know,
just look at from north to south. If you go to the northeast, if you go to the middle belt between Jukun and Tiv, there are long-standing grievances and hurts.
Yeah.
Then you talk about the Delta and whatever long-standing grievances. Yeah. Not to talk of the recent ones of the herdsmen versus farmers across the whole country. Yeah. So long-standing grievances that we really need to sit around the table and let there be allegations, accusations, and let there be apologies.
Exactly.
And so that we can move on along certain principles that we all now agree upon. Because people are saying, oh, we the people, our constitution, the preamble says we the people, but we're not part of it.
We're not part of it, yeah.
And I tend to agree with them.
Exactly.
That there was no referendum. Nobody, but 1999, I was already more than a full adult.
Yes.
And I had no part to play in that constitution. So we the people is false.
Yeah.
So how can we get a constitution, a document, a grown norm that we can indeed say we the people, it emerged from we the people. So this network and advocacy group now can be advocating for some of these things.
Exactly, that's it.
Advocating for constitutional change, for structural change. Do we want a parliamentary system?
Exactly.
Do we want to continue on this very expensive presidential system?
Yeah.
Do we want a three-tier
parliament
and so on and so forth? And do we want a Senate and a House of Rep?
Yeah.
And today's, the structure we're running is very expensive.
It is.
Under today's economic crunch, is it sustainable? Can a country not decide that, look, we want just part-time
representatives, congressmen,
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we sit down to discuss, these are the issues that will be coming.
One of the other challenges, now that you brought it up, you know, and this is something we should also talk about, and to put pressure on the people who have political power, is to say that we also recognize that it may not be in their interests
to make these
changes. It's important that we all understand this so that we don't have a false sense of expectation that in reality the people who hold political power have achieved political power on the basis of this constitution, on the basis of all these structures that we want to change. So why do we think that it will be easy, that they will just yield to this? This is important.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you are right, that it is necessary to admit, acknowledge, and to let them know that we know.
That's my point.
To let them know that we know that it is not in their interest, in their immediate interest. In their long-term interest, it is.
It is.
But in their immediate interest, since they are beneficiaries of this...
the status quo.
Of the status quo.
Yeah.
So it's not in their interest to change it.
Yeah.
However...
They should.
They should.
For the longer...
Yes.
Exactly.
For the sake of their children and children's children.
And before you even get to their children, they are also facing all of these things. Their villages are uninhabitable. They cannot travel home. They cannot... so these realities they are real. They are real for everybody. There is no part of Nigeria, I tell people all the time, that is immune from all of these things. There's no big man in Nigeria who is completely... Even if your children, your wives, your families are all abroad, it still affects you.
Oh, yes.
So we are in this mess together.
I said until last year when Jerry Rawlings died.
Yes.
In spite of the opposition he had and the people he hurt badly and so on, Jerry Rawlings could ride on his motorcycle around Accra.
Yeah, exactly.
With no escort.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he felt safe.
Exactly.
Now, which of our leaders?
None. You can't try it.
You can't try it.
Yeah.
Not even a local government chairman can go around now, not to talk of...
In fact, let me even give you another angle. Not even the chief executive of a bank. So let's come back to another group of people who seemingly like to pretend that it is not their problem. Because at the end of the day, the private sector has the biggest stake in the Nigerian project.
They can't make their money if Nigeria is not working.
If Nigeria is not working, they are not making... So I challenge business leaders who are listening and watching this, and it's part of our advocacy, that you must recognize that whatever you are making now in Nigeria, you could quadruple it if Nigeria was a more peaceful and prosperous society. If the rights of Nigeria...
So it is in your interest to invest, including, which we have to start telling them, including investing their financial resources.
That's what we are talking about.
Because you see, when agencies want to do the kind of project we are doing, they have to go overseas to get MacArthur Foundation, to get to Siwa, to get Ford Foundation. Why can't we get banks in Nigeria?
Nigerian companies, conglomerates.
Yes.
Why?
Why can't we get them?
So it's very important. So it is just like the senators and the members of the House and the politicians, the business community and the business leaders have a vested interest in the ultimate security and prosperity of Nigeria. And they must invest in it.
Everybody making money in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It is in our interest to see that cow from which we are milking, that cow survives.
Exactly. And we can create more cows.
Yes.
So that indeed, whatever they are making now, they could make exponentially much more. And this is the point. And that's where we need to start getting people through our advocacy and our work to see the bigger picture, because there is a bigger picture. You know, people are so okay with the fact that I can afford to have my children go to the best school in the world, but they forget that that child will come back to Nigeria and still have to leave. Or that they desire that child comes back. Yes, they desire, exactly, and the child ends up not coming, or the child comes back and ends up being frustrated by the system that their parents... The following year, he just returns. The same system that the parents have refused to heal will now come back and destroy the children. To haunt them.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what a sad day when in people's old age, they are left alone here because their children have gone and have refused to come back.
Exactly, yeah.
You know. Yeah. On this note, we would bring this segment of the program to an end. I've been speaking to Omagbitse Barrow, who is a member of the technical team of the new network and advocacy group of Terra Leadership Foundation, and he's been shedding light on what this program is hoping to achieve, so as to stop Nigeria from sliding into the abyss, which we seem to be now. We are Christians, and we are in the Lenten season, and we are looking forward to Easter. And we do hope that by virtue of the death and resurrection of Jesus, that this our country will be saved.
We believe
to
so.
the glory
Amen.
of God.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.